the man hours that took into preparing this case and investigating the case, and especially what the family went through. So I was not surprised.
Should he have taken the stand, Tracy?
Why didn't he testify?
He did not testify. Again, we discussed the pros and cons of him testifying, and there was a possibility that some evidence that had been kept out possibly could have come back in. And so we just had to weigh those options. Plus, he is a very nervous person anyway. And we just discussed the pros and cons of that and just decided, you know, we feel like there are some issues for appeal, so we just decided to go with that.
Was he satisfied that he did not testify? Do you think he regretted not taking the stand?
We did discuss that, and I think, you know, you're always going to second guess what if, but I think that he is still okay with the decision that we made.
Can you give us an idea of what he would have said?
I can't really at this point, just because of the appeal and the new trial. I want to be respectful, but you know, I did tell him that my duty to him as a defense attorney, because we talked about him getting a new attorney for an appeal so that he could raise an effective, you know, and I told him my duty still applies to him, so I'm still going to work for him and work with appellate counsel to do whatever we can for him on appeal.
Obviously, this is very important in trials. I noticed that you sat away from your client in a case like this. Was that a strategic move on your part? Because typically when you have this type of cases, the female lawyer sits next to a client.
This is going to sound a little bit crazy. I'm a little bit of a control freak, and so I like to be on the end of the table. And plus, like during jury selection and even with some of the evidence, instead of having to call out, I could just lean over and talk to the DA there without it causing too much of a disruption. So it wasn't really anything to do with Miles. It was just so that I could be next to my co-counsel. And Kyle Dobbins, he really helped me out a lot, because there was a lot of information in this case, and we were talking after the trial, and it was so nice to have someone there to help me, to give me a different perspective on things and talk things through.
Can you give us a little bit of insight as to what you said during your opening and your closing here when you talked about the jury? You warned the jury they were going to hate Miles Bryant. You warned them that they would think he was cold and callous, and you said you didn't even like him much yourself.
Well, just because of the family not knowing for 7 months. You know, that's awful. I mean, I'm a parent. Any parent, you know, I cannot imagine what she went through. And Miss Maria was very gracious to me. I think y'all heard me say I don't like to approach the family, but you know, I did give her a hug today to express my condolences to her, because I know that must have been horrible.
Do you chose a strategy, obviously, going ahead. Do you regret anything you've done from the start of the trial to the conclusion of the trial?
Well, there's always things that in hindsight you're like, well, maybe I should have concentrated on this more in closing, or said this, but you know, overall, I thought that we did everything we could based upon the facts that we had.
Last question. What do you think the most damning piece of evidence prosecution put forth that pretty much sealed your client's fate?
The Life 360. The Life 360. Of course, some of the other evidence was damaging, but I don't think if they had the Life 360 that they would have been able to really go forward.
Not the gun in the cell tower.
Not, because I think without the Life 360, it would have made it even more difficult to show arguably where she was picked up, where she went, the crash alert. I think all of that really bolstered their case to show that obviously that he did something to her. So I think that was probably the most damaging.
They didn't find him guilty of the attempted rape.
Correct.
What significance can you glean from that, the jurors? Because you went back to talk to the jurors as well. Can you share any of the conversation?
I think it was just, they just didn't have enough information. on that particular charge, to find that that was an intent of his at the time.
What happened to her clothes? Her clothes, the clothes that she had on.
They did not specify, but they had theories of their own as to what possibly could have happened to the clothes that would not lend itself to a guilty on that particular charge. And they did not tell me specifically what those theories were, so I don't know.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, y'all.